Oh, that would be awesome. Oh, there's a PowerPoint there. I just saw that my thing's just about dead. I've just got a couple of notes that I didn't want to miss mentioning. So I'll, good on you. You got me a little... I'm organised. Well, you're organised.
You ready to go?
Just give me a second.
Okay. Just get everyone to take a seat. Thanks, everyone. If you could take a seat, we're just about to get started.
Whenever you are.
Cool. Welcome back, everyone, to the last session of the conference. You're in the Nature Repair and Climate Adaptation stream. And our last speaker is Dr. Alson Southwell from Holbrook Landcare Network, presenting on Landcare-led landscape resilience tools and data for restoration decisions. Welcome.
Go the Murray. I've got my Murray crowd down here, the front here. I'm in good hands. Cheer squad, absolutely. Thank you. This is the last session of the conference, so everyone's worn out, I'm sure. There's good news, and so that's the bad news. Take it as you like, whether it's good news or bad news, but I have homework for you. Well, not homework, there's work at the end of this, all right? And what I'm presenting here today, I will say, isn't my work, it's my team's work. I'm the enabler of a brilliant team, and we embarked on a project, when did we start? 2022 we applied, 2023 we started, and we called it Landcare-led Landscape Resilience Tools, Data and Restoration Decisions. Now that's the name of the project that we were successful in receiving almost $1 million funding from the Future Drought Fund Soils and Landscapes grants. And how this project came about, or why we decided to do this project, is probably more important than anything. What we were noticing was that the funding landscape for Landcare was changing, right? Everybody knows this, okay? There was not the public funding of basic restoration on private land anymore. That was the trend, where it was just not possible to get funding. And my incredible colleague, Kylie Durant, who has been in the industry for a long, long time, we sat down and we said, well, where do we want to pitch this project? What are our real needs now? And what we realised was the funding landscape's changing, we have to change too. We have to make sure that as practitioners for this new funding landscape, we were ready. And we've got drought on top of that, and we need to make sure that the good information that we hold in our heads is going to be getting to those doing the work on the ground, because this change in funding landscape to environmental markets means that they don't need to come via Landcare anymore. So how do you actually make sure that they're still getting good advice? And also when in the realms of succession, how do we make sure that we've got written down what's inside the Kylie Durants of the world, what's in their head? How do we make sure it's written down for the next person? So the two key things that we wanted to get out of this was some way of capturing that knowledge and making it more accessible, and also, I'll be quite frank here, we looked at it and went, we can build a hell of a lot of demonstration sites into this and get some funding for on-ground planting. So that was the sneaky way that we thought we could actually get some funding for landholders on ground. So, so for 30 years, we've been doing this work, and our aim was to boost that private on-farm investment in natural capital, enhance resilience through climate-ready revegetation, because we also know that climate is changing. We need better advice to be coming out. We need to make sure that best management practice is right to be able to get the best out of our efforts for planting. And we need to prepare for that future of natural capital income streams. So what we did, simply we did forums for a start. We pulled together the entire Murrumbidgee region's practitioners, put them in a room and sucked their brains out, basically. That was how we began the project, and we ended the project with a forum as well, and to talk about what we learnt along the way. We updated our key resources, and we'll show you those shortly. We put in 35 demonstration sites around the region, and each one of those had a case study. So we caught those learnings in that as well. And then what we also did, which was probably the best thing that we could, is we started a community of practice around what the hell was this new funding landscape all about? What's this natural capital markets? Because there was nothing available at the time. We didn't know what ESG was, the whole spectrum of things in this new space. So that's what we embarked to do. So first of all, we did the regroup and revegetation, and that's what launched the project. And what we wanted to do was identify the opportunities to build on positive experiences, the lessons learnt from the wise heads in the room. And attendees, ranged in all levels of experience, and we had great engagement with First Nations people through that experience as well. We also wanted to pull out best practice approaches and principles to steer and update the new revegetation guides, which I'll show you shortly. We agreed on the key aspects where the main thing was to ease access. How do we actually make this more accessible to people? And information regarding climate change needed to be in there, and also we wanted to build in some cultural practice and guidance on how to plant in a culturally appropriate, sensitive way. We had discussions relating to the selection and development of the demonstration sites, and this included different types of landscapes, complexity of plantings, how we prepare, planting techniques, on-ground maintenance and monitoring, the real guts of the job. If you're going to train someone to be a practitioner, what's the stuff they need to know? The varying roles around those environmental markets. So that was what the forum was about. And we had, I don't think I've got it written down here, but we had 100 or so in the room. It was a really vibrant room. And the little tags there, we actually had a map set out, and people could put their projects, their successes, their failures. We wanted it all. So we had all that mapped out. At the end, we came together with another forum, and there were some clear takeaway messages. So we're kind of skipping towards the end here yet. I'm holding back on the unveil of the resources. One of the key things that we identified that stood out was our regional seed supply issues. And I'm seeing nods in the room. So I think we've got Landcare New South Wales, Landcare Australia in the room. Peter Dixon was there. He caught it all. This is something we really need to work on. This is a high priority area for the future. And so there was a real desire to do regional coordination around that. And this is not to... there is also a Murray LLS group doing this, but there needs to be more. They're doing a great job, there needs to be more. How do we actually ensure provenance? How do we improve that seed supply? How do we improve quality of that? Now, this was where the biggest job was. We wanted to update the key resources. So we had Southwest Slopes and Riverina revegetation guides that were now very old, out of print, and in hard copy. So unless you were an old head and had it stashed on your bookshelf, you couldn't access it. This is a problem in our day and age. So we went about creating a second edition, and we had no idea what we were getting into. It was just serendipitous that we came across Peter Rowland. He applied for a job with us, and he had years of publication experience writing books, building books, publishing books, and he saved us. He was amazing. And the guides, we realised we also had to update them as well. So we have some here for you today. This is what they look like. There's two of them. The Southwest Slopes Revegetation Guide and the Riverina Revegetation Guide. Now, I want to acknowledge that this project was not done just by Holbrook Landcare. This was a collaborative effort with Murrumbidgee Landcare Inc. as well, and they were incredible in their support of this. We actually built a whole new section into the Riverina Guide that wasn't there before. So part one was the new part. It was around the planning, design, practical information about how to implement revegetation. So Paula, do you want to jump up and pass some around so people can have a look? And then we updated our information on subcatchments. So you can see they're not small, and they are really detailed, and they go into plant descriptions and the whole thing. And I'm sure other regions have this as well, but to us, this is our Bible. So, you know, if you're starting anyone in the Landcare scene, this is their key resource that they can flick through and have their questions answered. This is still, you need a hard copy, isn't it? You need to have it, and you can't update it. So that's a problem. So after we launched these revegetation guides this time last year at Henty, we had a website launch at the same time. So we also have little cards. If you want to check it out, it's revegetation.org.au. We actually have an interactive map on there. You can, I will admit, it's not great on the mobile phone. It's better on your computer because there's a lot of pixels on that, and you can actually touch on an area and it'll take you to the information for that area and the vegetation information you need on that. So we did that. We've got 2 books, we've got a website, and the best thing that I like about a website is as we learn more, we can keep it updated. That's the best part, and we can put a hell of a lot more information into the website than we can a book. So the website has chapters. This is just a bit of a screenshot of what it looks like. And that gives you the general guide. We also have some deeper reads. So if there's particular practices you want to know more about, there you go. And we can add to that library whenever we want. There's our interactive map. You can see that it's quite detailed. And that pink bit, don't take that out of context. Make sure you keep the audio on, not just audio on. It's got to be visual, this as well. That is the new part that we built on. So well done, Murrumbidgee, for helping us do that. And then we had the vegetation profiles, so different parts of the landscape, different species, and all those blue bits though, are clickable. You can go to the information about the actual species there as well. That's what that looks like. Not all species are described. Majority are. Peter gave it his best shot, but it was a massive effort. Also on the website are all the demonstration sites. So we've detailed what we did, what we learnt, the basic information around that, and the case study write-ups of those demonstration sites. And it was everything from scalping. Paula, give me an idea here because I've lost my screen over here. It was how different species. It was all everything. You have a look, go for an explore. Just be aware. And then these were the demonstration sites on the ground, and so we had 35 of them built. Best practice restoration as best we could. One of the discoveries was that and it kind of highlighted the seed supply issue, is we couldn't get the right provenance seed to do the climate smart revegetation plantings that we wanted to demonstrate as part of this. So fortunately, we managed to get a Climate Smart grant separate to that. So that work is still in progress and it'll be happening over the next year or so. But yes, all those dots you can see there are the demonstration sites and where they're located. We also had a whole heap of communications. As I said, we've got the case studies that you could access individually and links to where they are on the website. And you can see sort of the titles here as I go through. And then we also had YouTubes and a few other bits and pieces like that. There's always more to do, but it was pretty intense. So there's just some pictures of what it looks like. Some of the demos on the ground as they were going in. You can see the variety of things we did. There's one of our stars, that's Judy, showing that she was there. And we couldn't have done it without Judy, I've got to say. And finally, the final part of the piece was this community of practice. And as I said, it was established to upskill, educate, lift the knowledge around, nature repair markets, environment, carbon markets, biodiversity, ESG, all the things that are happening at the moment, frameworks, how the hell do they fit in? All that sort of stuff was what we talked about. And so we'd bring in guest speakers to talk, and it was on webinar, and they were all recorded so that people could go back and have a look at them any time they wanted. And the really interesting thing about this was we had all the practitioners from the Murray-Murrumbidgee participating in this, but do you know who participated most? Local Land Services. And so, which was brilliant. We loved that because it was about working in partnership. And the beautiful thing about that is they're continuing on the community of practices now that the project's finished. So thanks Local Land Services for that. It's a great partnership. We did lift education, and I think, unfortunately, we didn't use the same scales, so you'll have to sort of average across on the blue side there. But what you can see is we did shift the dial in terms of education, and I think what we did was also demonstrate to people what they don't know, if you know what I mean. You don't know what you don't know, and we definitely opened up their eyes and made them realise that this is a really fast evolving area, that there's a lot of information, and it's something that we all have to keep across as it evolves. So, 8 sessions over 2 years, a range of guest speakers from banks to people involved in different markets, everybody. Lessons learned. This and the website were huge. I think it's fair to say we underestimated just how much work was involved in that. But we got there, and we've got something that we can be really proud of. And it's going to set the region in good stead for the next 20 years, And the website, it's not perfect. It's there. You will find glitches in it still. There's still more work to do, but it's a resource, and you can go there and you can get stuff. And we'd love to be able to keep updating that. The amount of work in publishing, massive. The impact on seasonal conditions was also something that was really tricky. This was a 2.5-year project, and we just didn't get the seasons that we needed. And so getting those plantings in, as people know, when they're doing short-term projects and you've got tree planting to do, you're never going to get the right season. But we got there in the 2nd year, so it was a big ask, and we really thank the 35, the farmers who worked with us to push those projects through when it was, and get the fencing done and get it all done in a really short timeline. So we're really thankful to them for that. And the thing now is the work's not over. We've got a lot of things that we'd like to do next, and we were really fortunate with the Future Drought Fund that we received a letter from them saying that we're eligible to participate in the Scaling Success program that is going to be opening up sometime soon. Imminent, was that right, Louise? I think that was the word. So, this is where your homework is. You've seen what we've done. This program's called Scaling Success. The question is, what should we do next? Now, we've got a few ideas listed there, and training and best practice, I think we've kind of built a training guide, to be honest. I think we've got a training guide. So how do we actually do that? Turn that into a project. That's one idea. The seed supply is another one. Supporting land managers to access environmental stewardship income streams. That's an ongoing thing. Defining how we do that is something that we need to do. Keeping that practitioner development going is another one. Scaling these re-veg guides to other regions, is that a possibility? Peter's available. We'll keep that in mind. I don't know whether he'd go there again. I think he would. Further improvements to the website and monitor. And the thing is, because it was a short-term project, we know revegetation is a long-term commitment. We've done what we think is best management practice, but the project's too short to be able to tell for sure. So going back and monitoring those is something that we've got in mind that we need to do as well. But we found we've got a whiteboard, people. So what we thought we'd do is we honestly want to capture ideas about where this Scaling Success program should go, and I thought we would end there with just an open discussion, and Paula's going to write ideas down if that's all right. So if you have others after this, we're very open to that as well, but that's all I have to say, so thank you. There is one more thing. I do have one more thing to say. This is the most important part. Have a look at the size of this list. This has not been an easy task, and it has taken a whole network of people to do it. The faces at the top there are our heroes. You've got Peter here at the end, who was the main person who pulled these guides and the website together, an absolute guru. Judy helped with actually getting the reporting and getting us across the finish line and helping with the case studies and the demos on the ground. Kylie is an absolute wizard. If you've ever met Kylie, she never wants acknowledgement, but she's not here, so it's okay. And her brain is pretty much in this. And the two at the end, I've just had a mental Lee and Annika, amazing people from Murrumbidgee. They were such great team players, and they got in it and helped with us hugely. So you never get anywhere in Landcare on your own. It was an absolute team effort, and yeah, our thanks to them and the Future Drought Fund for giving us the opportunity to do this. So there you go. Now I'm finished. All right. You're going to direct questions? Yeah. Yep.
Solution one. So we in Australia are believers in the Society for Ecological Restoration, Restoration Standard version 2.2, and we use the recovery wheel to be able to analyse and assess various recovery projects. But to go with the recovery wheel is the benefit wheel. The benefit wheel is an international standard for assessing the quality of socio-ecological benefit from restoration projects.
Excellent.
And that benefit wheel is an absolute ripper. But I'm not aware of anyone in Australia who's undertaken a project yet in applying that particular wheel. So you may find that you are really setting the stage.
Excellent.
The benefit wheel.
Benefit wheel. You'll have to send me some information.
The link will be sent Thursday when I'm back.
Excellent. That's what I love to hear. SERA.org.
Sarah, but they don't cover the benefit wheel really deep. They cover the recovery wheel but not the benefit.
But yes, send us any information you've got if you think that'd be good to do. Okay, excellent.
G'day. Fantastic work. What wasn't clear to me is how much ground cover is included in all of this. Is ground cover a component, or is this mainly shrubs, trees?
Ground cover was part of it. We
It
did
was.
some on native grass, scalping for native grass. I think we did it at Wirramina, which is just next door to us. Yeah, it was absolutely part of it. We need all layers of...
Right. And so have you got to the point where you've re-established a diverse native ground cover?
Yes, at Wirramina, we've actually got quite a few,
So my question is, do you have an adequate supply of ground cover seeds and ground cover seedlings?
No,
Okay,
we don't.
well could I
There's our seed
suggest
supply
that
issue.
across Australia, and particularly in New South Wales and Victoria with revegetation, establishing a supply and a methodology or a whole ethos of ground cover restoration rather than being tree focused is the next step that we really need to meet. And you guys are
Absolutely.
really in position to push that, which is terrific.
And we're actually doing something with our diamond firetails. We've got an application in at the moment with diamond firetails as the signature species to look at ground cover and building that for a signature species at the moment. So once we get some info, if we get funded, we'll be definitely publishing.
Fantastic.
Yep.
We're actually out of time, but I'm sure if anyone wants to stick around, you can gather around the whiteboard and finish off having your discussions.
Happy to. Yep.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. All right.